the news. So guess what? You can't stop God, because God is here, baby, and I am the guidance of the God that's going to bring the peace. Tell them the omnipresent is present, and the people will be heard.
Not the answer. This is not the answer. This is not the answer. This is not the answer.
I gotta tell her something real quick. Hang on.
It says we'll make room. The family's on
Sweetie.
says we'll make room for
This is not the answer.
If you want to fight the right,
No, you don't tell me.
We're talking home.
baby girl, then you will never have enough things. I'm trying to help you.
No, you're not trying to help me.
Yes, I am.
Drinking the
I'm not
Kool-Aid.
buying nobody.
Drinking the Kool-Aid.
You drinking the Kool-Aid.
Get away from me.
Do you know what you look like? You are exhibiting the cult. You are the false mask that stands here. You are the cult. You are the cult. You are the cult.
Housing costs are one of the biggest.
Are you the bully? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Look at the color you are. Let's take the course. Let's record. Baby, I am the Kool-Aid.
Let's de-escalate, guys.
I am the Kool-Aid.
Okay.
Sweetie. As you stand there with those fake hard eyes.
That's okay. That's okay.
No, they need my attention. They asked for it.
You were great.
That's why my chorus right there.
You were great.
No. Sweetie.
Please, let's
Both of you as you.
Let's not.
I love you.
I don't want to
I
know
love
you.
you. Your poor little heart and those fake heart eyes. Poor baby.
Let's not do
That
this.
fake love. No, because the mask has to come off of all the fakeness. You don't have pure love.
Okay.
You're not real.
To live in San Francisco.
What are you saying here?
I have to say that shouting at people, bullying us, and trying to shut us down when we are also born and raised here and we disagree with this, that is not love. That is not respectful. We are trying to be respectful, but everyone up here is saying this is a family plan. This is not a family plan. Be honest, and we'll meet you where you are.
I want to thank all of our speakers today. I want to thank some of the folks that weren't speakers but are supporting us. Our laborers, our carpenters, our operating engineers that are up here in support. All of our community advocates. It takes a village to do this, people, so thank you. Now, we're going to go upstairs and we're going to give comment and support the family zoning plan. That's going to be in room 400. The planning has already started. Go to the bathroom, grab a glass of water, and then let's meet upstairs and show our support. Thank you.
I can't.
Why are you here today?
To support the family zoning plan.
Why are people so angry about it?
A number of reasons. Some people treat the city like it's a museum, which cities are absolutely not, and some believe that have a fear that that the buildings will demolish homes. Many, I think, are living in fear of like what happened to the Fillmore in the '60s.
Was that bad?
I mean, like the way it was done was bad, but that's not our plan.
Whose plan?
The family zoning plan.
Who put that together?
People in San Francisco, a lot of people.
Did Lurie put that together?
You'll have to ask him.
I'm asking you, and you're supporting the plan. Where did the plan come from?
You'll have to. I didn't drop the plan.
I'm just asking, where did it come from?
What?
Where did it come from?
I didn't drop the plan.
My friends who live in rent control housing, they don't have that kind of control.
They're protected.
No, they are not. They are not sufficiently protected.
You don't know what the law is.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Look it up.
Yeah. Oh well, don't worry. I'll be
People
there.
rent-controlled housing are protected from demolition. We have demolition control.
Then how come we already in my neighborhood have buildings that have been where people have been Ellis Act evicted years ago, and those buildings are standing there derelict, completely empty. They are not protected.
Have they been demolished?
Not yet, but they're waiting.
Is anyone living in them?
I don't know.
No, I.
Why are there thousands of empty flats in San Francisco?
Because when people move from one house to another.
Why are there thousands of empty flats in San Francisco?
Because when people move from one house to another, it's
I'm asking you why there are thousands of empty flats.
I told you why.
Why?
Because when people move one house to another, it's always empty for a while.
Well, there are thousands.
That's right.
Well, what does that mean?
There's 400,000 units in San Francisco. What percentage are empty?
Well, there are a lot.
What percentage?
You know why? Do you know why they're empty? Because you have to be a millionaire. You have to have a lot of money to live.
This woman's a millionaire. She owns a house. I have friends who live in rent-controlled apartments and aren't millionaires. Are you a millionaire?
You need to be a millionaire.
Are you a millionaire?
Are you a millionaire?
Interview.
Are you a millionaire?
Absolutely. I bought a house.
Are you a millionaire?
I bought a house in 2003.
So why are you concerned about, control of rent?
I have 2 children. They're in high school, and I want them to be able to live here. They're native San Francisco.
Why isn't there public housing? Why isn't there public? Why isn't there
from having a?
Why isn't there working class
There's
housing?
public housing.
No, there isn't. How much? Where?
There's like 60,000 people living in public housing in San Francisco.
No, 60,000 people in public housing.
You are wrong.
What 60,000 people?
You are wrong.
Where's the public housing? 60,000.
I live in Presidi in Bernal Heights, and there's.
Where's the 60,000 units?
There's 6 large housing units.
That's not public housing.
You should inform.
That's not public housing.
Yes, it is.
No, there's not 60,000 units of public housing.
6 housing on
There's
Caesar.
not 60,000. There's not 60,000 public
You
housing.
are wrong. You are misinformed.
There's not.
More tenants were going to get displaced.
Fred, what do you make of their argument that by increasing the volume of housing, because that's their argument, is that, look, what we have is a housing crisis in the city, not enough stock, so this plan will increase the stock, provide, and let the market work itself out. In other words, it'll provide more housing so more people can get it, and it'll actually eventually lower rents and allow people to stay in the city.
Well, first, corporate landlords leave a huge percent of their housing empty. So every building we're in has lots of empty apartments. So if we want to talk about supply, we should talk about the supply that huge corporations are holding back, that are taking over the monopoly of San Francisco housing. But one housing unit isn't the same as another housing unit. A unit that has protections, a rent-controlled unit, isn't the same as $1 million condo. If you displace an immigrant family with kids and build something 5 years later that they may or may not be able to return to anyways, and the protections might not even be there in the first place, that kid still got moved out into 2 different schools. That elderly person lost their home where they know the person on the corner who helps take care of them. Their neighbors watch for them. They can walk, that they have a doctor who speaks their language. In this moment of Trump, we can't be evicting immigrant communities. We can't let landlords pressure transgender immigrants and other folks who are fleeing here from other parts of the country, who've lived here for a long time, the people who painted the murals in our neighborhoods have a right to stay in the neighborhoods they helped build. And we're not it's nice that some college kids from Texas will have a new unit in San Francisco. But if you evict a whole building of tenants who've lived here a long time to make that happen, is that necessarily a good thing? We're not interchangeable humans. This is our homes. These are our families. Half the people doing this wouldn't do this to their mom's neighborhood or their grandma's neighborhood. Why will they do it to our family's neighborhoods?
What kind of protections would you like to see?
I would first like Weiner to get rid of the Ellis Act. He has done nothing for tenants at the state level, and he keeps saying that we should just bulldoze the housing we have and build luxury condos instead of protecting tenants. So first, I would like to see that.
That's a state
yes,
law, right?
but this is
Locally, what like in this?
But I would say this is a response. Everyone says we have to do this because of the state, but it's our representative in San Francisco who is making us do this. It is not someone in the Central Valley or LA who's saying, yeah, you have to bulldoze housing. It is our state representative who is saying we should be displaced from our homes for luxury housing. Locally, we need to exempt rent control housing from this at a very minimum, because we don't get that housing back. We don't get that units back. Yes, we need to change the law so we can have rent control in more units, but at the minimum, people who have those protections, you don't get those protections back. And right now, if the building isn't built if the building's built after 79, you don't have those basic protections. And those protections are the difference between life or death for many tenants, and definitely the difference between being able to stay here in the city, often near their jobs. I was just in an entire building of restaurant workers last night, or the night before last. I was in a whole building of mostly immigrant restaurant workers who work in this city, who are on Valencia fighting to be able to stay in their unit, fighting against their corporate landlord relocating them. But tenants lose most of their relocation protections under this. And so you saw on a building on Mission that had a fire, they were supposed to have the right to return after a fire. We made that law so landlords didn't burn down their buildings. Except that with all the state upzoning, they don't have the right to return anymore. And so they're going to rebuild that building as million-dollar condos, and none of those, I think it's 23 families, are going to be able to come back.
What's that address?
What?
What's that address?
It's the huge building at 23rd and Mission. And I can connect you with some folks.
Can you share a bit about your housing experience? How long have you lived in the city? Do you have rent-controlled housing?
My dad lived in a rent-control unit until he died on Polk Street. I fought his landlord multiple times. I work for Housing Rights Committee of San Francisco. We work with thousands of tenants a year who are fighting to stay in their units. Mostly, we work with a whole range of tenants, including tenants in public housing. We really believe in constructing more permanently affordable housing. But this actually has a net loss of affordable housing in the future. And so this doesn't provide the housing that they went on and on about for homeless families or low-income families. There's actually nothing really that would get us more of that in this. And we'd actually lose many of our rights to fight for that where we existingly for the last 10 years got more affordable housing. But this what it would do is make it easier to demolish or otherwise. And even if they don't demolish the building, if an investor can potentially make more money from the next buyer by having it empty, they will, even if nothing's ever built there.
Do you yourself live in the city?
I now live in the East Bay. I've been pushed out. My family lives here though, and I'm a long-term Bay Arean, a long-term San Franciscan. I lived in Vernal for 15 years. My dad lived in Polk Street and fought for his housing. And the only way he worked at a bookstore for years. In San Francisco, he worked at multiple bookstores, and the only way he was able to retire in San Francisco was his rent control.
Is this part of gentrification? What's going on?
Oh, this is definitely part of gentrification. This is actually the new urban renewal. It is saying that some neighborhoods don't count, and we should bulldoze them for richer, frankly, whiter communities, you know?
What happened here today was unusual. I mean, no doubt about it. I haven't seen this turn into a political rally with opposing forces. Mm-hmm. I did see an exchange that you had with someone who asked a question while you were shouting. How did that exchange go?
I'm willing to talk to anyone about the protections we need and what we need to do, because we talked about what real solutions would look like. Real solutions would be getting rid of the Ellis Act, getting rid of Costa-Hawkins, having stronger rent control. If we want rents not to go up, we need to make it so rents don't go up.
What about public housing? Why aren't they building public housing here in San Francisco?
We actually build more affordable housing than almost any city. That it is one of the things that we have historically, we need to do better at. But the state needs to fund affordable housing. Is frankly what it is. Like, we work with tenants at Plaza East who actually were willing to have their homes bulldozed if they built more affordable housing that past public housing tenants who got displaced from the Western Addition got to return to. They were willing to go through that if they got to be able to not only come back, have some control over it, and to let people return. So we work with tenants all the time fighting for more housing of every type. And frankly, the federal government, the state government needs to fund affordable housing because of long-term permanently funded housing is cheaper, just like rent control is cheaper than homelessness or children who move schools all the time. Those things are really expensive. Keeping people in their homes is actually pretty cheap. And instead, we're doing it this feels like this is just a moment for other people's profits. There's going to be a set of developers who make massive amounts of money, and we aren't promised a real unit in this. Some of these buildings will get one extra unit, but they'll build an office tower above it. That's allowed. You're allowed to merge units. There's lots of things that are allowed under this that aren't allowed now that are horrendous.
Do you think Lurie is representing the developers?
I think that it is really important that San Franciscans, like the reality is San Francisco tenants want to stay in their homes, and they're going to oppose any politician that tries to get them out.
Do you think this was helpful? This demonstration?
It is one step of it that tenants need to speak out, business owners need to speak out, that small businesses are just as terrified. And these are our homes, but these are our neighborhoods. This is the city we love. Like, I love San Francisco. That's why I am here fighting back for tenants. That's why I've been fighting for tenants at Housing Rights Committee for the last 13 years. That's why all these other folks in other tenant groups, there isn't a tenant group who supports this, who every day stops tenants from being evicted. We're all for more affordable housing, but we are not for displacing tenants from the homes they're living in and making it easier.
I'm a small business owner. I own the Booksmith and the Alembic in the Haight-Ashbury. I'm part of a progressive advocacy group called Small Business Forward. The window signs that you're seeing put up around the city by concerned business owners and workers are the signs that we've helped to distribute. We have been advocating since April for meaningful protections for small businesses. We support creating affordable housing for small business workers. You heard a lot of co-optation of our messaging that we've been saying since April in today's press conference. The reality is that most small business workers make between $30,000 and $80,000 per year. And that means that this housing, which is largely for people that make $100,000, $120,000 or more, is out of reach for small business workers. So we are here for a meaningful affordability. This plan actually allows people to opt away from a state density program that gives them 16% affordable for a plan that actually is 12% affordable. It actually undermines the potential for affordability through the new development that's already permitted by state law. So the reality is that this plan has zero affordability, in fact, undermines affordability. And so that is our concern.
Is it just for the employees, or there is also concern about businesses themselves?
Of course. Yeah, so of course we're very concerned that small businesses are being displaced for housing that is not for us. So what often will happen in these cases is that single-story or two-story buildings will be bought up by speculative development, the tenants will not have their lease renewed, and the small businesses will be displaced. If you look at the development that has happened along Market Street and Ocean Avenue, you can see that more than half, 55% of those sites, there's 25 sites, more than half of them have vacancies at the storefront level. A third of them have what's called a cold shell. Those are concrete boxes that have no subflooring, no electrical, no plumbing, that basically make it very expensive to move into those spaces. And so what we've been advocating for is also warm shell conditions, so that is a requirement. Under this plan, they've put it in as a potential incentive for more height. That's unacceptable, and that's not going to get it done. We also want to make sure that there's early notification. Just last week, there was an article in the Chronicle about 2 restaurants that were evicted for housing with 90-day notice. That's not enough time. People basically lost their jobs, were laid off, and the business owner wasn't able to successfully relocate their business. They didn't have enough time. So we need early notification. We need meaningful relocation assistance, because most of these small businesses, when they relocate, it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars for them to reestablish in a new location, especially if it's a cold shell location, right? And so a restaurant, for example, has to be able to have a hood, have to have the floor drain, a hand washing sink, all of those things. What we are likely to see are long-term neighborhood restaurants like we saw in the Fillmore, displaced 40-year-old restaurants that the billionaire there essentially said, I'm not renewing your lease. And so what did we get? We got vacancies up in the Fillmore. There's multiple vacancies on a 2-block stretch owned by one person, holding them off the market. And so as a result, we've lost these wonderful restaurants like Ten-Ichi Sushi, right? And so this plan, if it were to pass, would supercharge that. That's just the tip of, we've already seen small businesses being priced out of the city the last decade. And the reality is that this plan supercharges that.
Do you see any movement in any of these changes that you would like?
Well, I think it's really interesting that they're co-opting our language right now. They made a really big show of having some small business support here today. I'll tell you that 90% of small business owners lease and don't own. And so a lot of the people that they had up at the podium are actually in a position of owning their building and benefiting from the property inflation when the land values go up. So of course there's 10% of small businesses out there that would really financially benefit from this plan and they would support this. But the other 90% of us that actually lease our space have no protections beyond our lease. There's, commercial rent control prohibitions at the state level that essentially say that they can't require the developers to give us money, can't require for us to come back as a right of first return like you would see with residential tenants. So we actually do also need state level reform to ensure that we can actually put in some sensible policies that would allow small businesses to stay in their community.
Where does Weiner stand on this?
I'm good, yeah. Yeah, you're good.
Where does Weiner stand?
Thank you. Yeah.
Scott Weiner.
I'm asking a question.
Yeah, so Scott Weiner has not been part of this conversation since April.
You think he supports the residents?
I think that he has not done anything to support the small businesses staying in their community.
Can you talk about why you're out here today?
Probably not.
What's your name? Okay.
Trying to do here, I think public housing needs to be fixed first. There's plenty of that needs help. And otherwise, rent control needs to be completely kept. And the upzoning is a scam. Those buildings are never going to be built. And why spend the money on that when we already have all this housing ready for people to move into, and they're just holding it out and making money on that?
Is that speculation?
No, that's fact.
Okay, thanks. So who's benefiting from this development that he's talking about?
The developers, of course, and those that back them up, corporations that want to make more money and dissemble rent control. So if they can get rid of rent control, they'll get rid of all the poor people. And who knows what's going to happen in the world and in San Francisco.
Who does Mayor Lurie represent?
Well, I haven't asked them, so I don't really know. And
He comes from a billionaire family.
Yes, I know, but he got elected because of how he stood on rent control and housing and helping people. And building buildings is not going to help people. It's fixing the ones that we already have.
Okay, thank you. So are you guys supporting one or the other? Yeah. What are you supporting?
Here, there, everywhere. Well, actually, we do support them building it, but we need also families to come in also. Because if we just build the studios and one bedrooms, that's going to work for some people, but it's not going to work for families for San Francisco. Because how can you put a family in a one bedroom or a studio? You can't. That's not going to work. So we're carpenters, yes, we do support it, but we need to work. But we need more family housing here. It's just not only just single.
Well, it sounds like the developers don't want family housing, unless you're a millionaire.
Well, that's who's building them. They're the ones. There's a lady who was working. Just told us she's on the 6th floor of the building that's 6 stories. They're going to tear it down and make it into 14 stories, so they can build those studios and one bedrooms. She's not going to be able to live no more here, and that's what she came to live here. She came from another state, she said, to come to live in, and now it's going to be very hard for her. It's a struggle.
You want to say that, Scott?
Yeah, carpenters are struggling too. We're starving here too. We need to work, but then again, like my brother was saying, that you need more than just studios, one bedroom. Because even if you say you have a one bedroom, you have a kid, now you got to get a 2 bedroom.
That's it.
If you're in a studio, you have a kid, you got to get a 1 bedroom. So either way, for families.
Well, why are there homeless in San Francisco?
Too expensive.
You know what? That too. But then a lot of homeless people come from all over.
Well, why are there homeless in the United States?
The Greyhound bus, baby.
Yeah, but like.
Why are there homeless in the United States? I just returned from Switzerland. There are no homeless there.
Well,
and it should be
capitalism.
Is that what it is?
Capitalism is for the people who grow the money. They get richer and the rich get richer and the poor get poor. Like what Donald Trump did, he made it for the trillionaires and the billionaires. That's what he did.
He cut the poor.
No, there's no more middle class. You got the
middle class been gone.
That's why you got a lot of poor people living in tents and in mobile homes.
And they want to kick them out of the mobile.
Where are they going to live? There's no place to live.
And rent is high here too.
Very high,
Rent
you know.
is very high.
One bedroom or a studio can be like $2,500, $3,000 for a studio. Now, a 2-bedroom, that's like $4,500. 3-bedroom, that's $5,000.
But down at Chase down there, them apartments, $4,000 for a 1-bedroom.
Very expensive to live.
So what can working people do? It seems like the developers want $1 million condos. They want to build more $1 million condos.
This is going to be a city for the rich. And the poor will serve the rich. That's how it's going to end up going.
That's how it is now. We serving
Well,
the rich.
I mean, basically.
If the city is empty during the day, a lot of working people can't even live here. They can't come to you.
Well, the people.
We're carpenters, and the places that we build, we can't even afford to stay there. You know what I mean? We're carpenters, and we still can't afford to live here.
What about public housing? In Europe, they build working class public housing.
Well, they close a lot of public housing down now. They give it to the rich developers.
And they knocking the public housing out, making them into apartments.
In
now.
Hunters Point, they took it where there was
Trail Hill.
It was real housing
Point,
authority.
Now they're doing Sunnydale.
They got everything going.
They're making apartments. They tearing down housing and they making apartments. And when you make apartments, that means that it's like affordability.
So only people who have a lot of money can afford it. Regular working people, poor people can't afford those.
Yes.
They're 1 or 2 paychecks away from being homeless themselves.
Yeah,
that's
right.
what happens if they don't pay the bill. It's too outrageous, you know. You came from where? What part of the country you came from?
Switzerland. I didn't see one homeless person in Switzerland.
To be honest, back before the pandemic, and I didn't see a homeless there either.
That's crazy. This is a rich country. There are 80 billionaires in San Francisco, and you got homeless people
It's
here.
the richest city, one of them. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man.
Like I
It's
said,
not fair.
We working can't afford to live here, you know?
Yeah.
So
That's a system. The workers can't afford any place to live, you got a problem. You got a system problem.
even the teachers, they starting to build places for teachers now, but they can't even afford to live here.
My friend, her son, he's a Balboa High School football coach.
Mm-hmm.
He just got housing. And his housing is less than what he was paying for an apartment. He got 3 bedrooms. He had a 2-bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And he's paying less now because he got the city helped the teachers a little bit. You know, firemen, they all live outside the city. Sheriffs or police officers, they don't live in the city.
What do you think about the fact there are like 16,000 empty flats in San Francisco?
Because they can get the money, they can get the higher rent for it. That's how they do it. You see, what's happening is the people who are buying these are conglomerates of groups of people that got the money.
The billionaires.
They buy it. They're even buying homes. People are vacating their homes. They're buying homes as it is on TV. We'll buy your home, they tell you. So they'll go and buy your home. They'll turn around and flip it and rent it out. For big money, $5,000, more than a mortgage payment.
One of the sisters in the Brotherhood of Local 22, carpenters, we're just trying to get people back to work, first of all, with us.
Your members say you can't even afford to live here.
I was born and raised in San Francisco, 47 years old, and 3 months ago, I had to leave San Francisco, my home, where I've always, where I was raised, my siblings were raised, my kids were raised here, and I had to move out because I can't afford it. So
is that gentrification?
Yes, that's the thing. You know, we had all these people. We're now people that are from here, that were born here, we're unicorns because you don't find us here no more because we have to move out. And this plan is going to help that. One, it's going to get me work again. It's going to make me be part of getting this affordable housing for families.
Well, what about public housing? Why don't they build public housing? There are 80 billionaires. Why don't you make the billionaires pay for public housing for working people?
The thing is, we got to start with the working people.
No, I'm talking the billionaires run San Francisco, don't they?
Yeah, but
why don't they pay for public housing for working people?
The thing is, public housing should just be a help. My mom never did welfare. She had 12 kids.
I'm not talking welfare.
Public housing, we never did.
Well, you know, in Europe, people have housing.
I just think affordable housing for everybody, low income, middle class, which I'm considering.
Why shouldn't the billionaires pay for that?
Why should they?
Why should they? Because they got money by taking it from working people. That's why.
But
Isn't that the case?
But the thing is,
how did they become billionaires? How did Trump become a billionaire? He took it from working people.
Trump is a heritage. He got it from his daddy. I'm not doing politics. I'm not doing politics. It just starts with the working people like myself that wants to come back to my city. That's what I'm.
Well, public housing is a way of taking care of working people. Build public housing for working people. Is that too radical?
Public housing is still going to charge me for whatever I work. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying in Europe.
We're not in Europe. We're in the United States.
Well, you got a lot of homeless people here in San Francisco and all over the country.
So we're trying to get housing for everybody.
Boxing King. What I'm here for, for the housing, I'm on Section 8 housing, and I was asking them would they maintain me and my brother. I'm a SEIU worker, and I've been a part of this SEIU, taking care of my brother and my mother. My mother just passed. And for Section 8, when I moved in that place, we was paying $1,800 a month. Now I'm paying $3,800. So with the development of new housing, would they constantly keep? And then, like I told them, I've already spoke and asked them could they maintain, because it's hard to live. My brother only making $1,230 a month, and then with my SEI money to work to give him a better life, to give us both. So that's what I'm in here. And he's 63 years old. He's mentally challenged, and so how can he? What about the small people? I've been in this one house for 20-something years under rent control, and to get rid of that would be something totally different.
And how much do you make an hour?
Right now I'm making $22.25.
And how do you live in that in San Francisco?
Well, basically through the Section 8 and the project with me and my brother, basically his income and my income, it balances it off where he's not able, so he's written up on my taxes other than that. But when my mother was living, I was taking care of all three of us, and we lived in that house now for almost 20 years. Now with them coming in and changing the fees and stuff. Now,
how are they changing it? Are they making it more expensive?
Making it more expensive, or they're going to make it, the cost of living for a 4-bedroom house now. They gave me a voucher for $4,000, $5,000 just to get another. I'm in a 2-bedroom. To go get a 3-bedroom here, you got to pay at least $3,000, $5,000 a month. And then I needed help, live-in help for my brother, and I went to the doctor, signed out for it, but they did not give it to me, so therefore, and that was a whole waiting list. And then through Section 8, what they'll do is, okay, you'll go sign up for 120 days, and if you don't make it that 120 days, they can kick you, the landlord can write you out and throw you off of Section 8. So there's so many tricks, and it's hard to find.
Is that how it's designed?
That's how it's designed. It's hard to find a 4-bedroom place in San Francisco, not only a 3-bedroom. And I needed help because I was taking care of 2 mentally ill patients. But other than that, I've been doing this work over 21 years, taking care of my mom.
So you're worried that you're going to be shut out? I would
definitely be shut out. If I didn't have a Section 8, and then what the government trying to say every 2 years, so that's a whole lot of other stuff that's coming up, democracy, because, it was unheard for men to have that. We started this right here in San Francisco, that before. The only reason why men was getting Section 8 because of HIV, AIDS, and that was given, we didn't want people living in dying on the streets. So the government, in this one building right here, we opened up back in during Jordan time to open up Section 8 for folks wouldn't be dying on the streets. And therefore, and they only gave people only 5 years to live. But then after the cocktails came in, people was living longer. And now this is the part of that project, because Dianne Feinstein and Barbara Boxer, why do they put more money into the AIDS Foundation, into these programs, into these drug school and all of that? It was so much. And now after 30 years of marching through this, then all of a sudden y'all want to be reverted to go back different. When we have walked so much, so many doors have opened. We have been the beacon of this country. San Francisco have been the beacon of the United States, of the care and the nurturing that we have given everyone all across the country, all around the world. So when we came together with Elizabeth Taylor, Rock Hudson, all of that, the AIDS Foundation, Ward 86, she put it in there. So it's been so many giants to make sure that we are here today. And this is what it looked like when living in a democracy. It can work if we allow it to work.
So what do you think of Mayor Luries' plan?
When I think of it, it's versatile. So when you cut, when in a city, you have to understand when you cut one, the other one's cracked. It's so many different cracks. So you just can't just go in, because we got so many different people on all different levels here. So we don't have a one-fit-all mayor. We have a versatile mayor. So he's not going to be able, he's just one person. I trust him, I love him for what he's doing, his work, but there's no more, he can do no more than what we allow him to do, the people. So therefore, his intentions is good. I have nothing wrong with that. And this is this democracy. You know, I understand the three different mayors: the people mayor, the tax mayor, the country mayor, the development mayor. I've been
Who do you think runs San Francisco?
The people. We do.
You don't think the developers and the billionaires run San Francisco?
It's the people. We have always, we are one.
Do you know about redistricting? What happened with redistricting?
Well, I started.
Who was pushing that?
Project 20. I was out on that thing for Saturday, open saying yes to it, because they've already did that in Texas. I come from Houston, Texas. I come from Jim Crow, where there was white water, black folks. I was raised in the 60s all the way up. I'm 64 years old, but it was white water fountain. I had to leave.
Aren't they trying to get rid of black representatives now?
Well, that's what they're doing already. When Donald Trump fired over 330,000 black educated women have lost their jobs already and was given to uneducated white men. So automatic, everybody in the government is cut off. Don't you see what he's doing? He's separating us, and we are allowing this. It's not him. I don't blame Donald Trump. I blame his people, my neighbors, because they're the one that voted him in. What
about the Democrats?
Well, like I say, I don't.
The Democrats protecting people?
It's a both parties. If you notice, when Biden got in, Biden didn't change none of Donald Trump laws in there. They ran straight through because we were so busy worrying about the plague. He didn't have time enough to go in and diverse the law. When they was talking about high groceries, that was Donald Trump. Biden didn't go back and look at the law. He never did stop the terrorists at all. Look where we at now. Four years went by. Now you want to blame that? No, he kept on Biden's economy. We ran the economy up. He crashed it. Hey, come on now, we see here. I lived through Black Wall. I had to get up, and my mom and them had to go order food and then get the food in the back door. In their own town, but they was ran in. Separate but equal. Jim Crow, they gave us a separate but equal. Yeah, my education was in a special ed class. I had to go to special ed, and special ed was back in the South, was a penitentiary, jailhouse, penitentiary holdover. Everybody that went into Section 8 in the 60s, because in the 70s and 80s, ended up in the state penitentiary. I had a penitentiary record before at 18 years old down there in Texas against the but it was the Democrats' fault then. We was fighting Jim Crow back then. Now then the Republicans.
You think they want to bring back Jim Crow in this country?
Ain't they doing? Do we think? What do you think going on right in front of you? Doesn't need a crystal ball to see what the hell is going on right now. What do you mean? Do you think? What are you smoking? What are we smoking? Okay, well, we let the country smoke weed, and everybody went to sleep on it. Okay, what's going on? Like we all laid back. California, I came here in '91. This was the only two places, New York and here, had education on that virus, HIV. It wasn't HIV, it was the AIDS. And then through all of that, I watched this city nurture me, grow me, build me back up, take me off my crack cocaine, take me off there, gave me back my dignity, gave me back my life, that I was able not only to straighten me out, but go back and get my mother and bring her up, clean up from her alcohol for 30-some years, then go back and reach and get my brother from his mentally, that he was born into the world with this here. He can't pay bills like me and you. He don't have this opportunity. So now I'm standing here again with the voice. It never stopped. I've been at this door here for 34 years. And I've seen, and I'm a part of this project. It works. The system works when you want it to work. It doesn't work for everybody because everybody don't want it to work. But if you want it to really work and step into your true identity and hold the right conscience, they say be here for the cure. I became the cure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope I gave you enough.
No, that's
There's no middle class anymore. It's such a... Oh, God.
Can you talk about why you're here today?
Well, I'm here because I'm not for the SB 79, and I think it's going to destroy the neighborhood, my neighborhood, North Beach, and destroy small businesses. And once that genie's out of the bottle, you can't put it back. Once you can only ruin it once.
So who's behind it?
It's Mayor Lurie. It's his family's. It's called Family Zoning Plan.
So you're saying it's not really about families?
No. Well, it's only it's 25% has to be like 2 bedrooms, and that's called family. 25% of all the new things. That's like I don't think that's very much, So that leaves 75%. That's 1 bedrooms and studios.
Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I live in North Beach, but it's not only about North Beach, it's about the whole city.
and I've lived here for most of my life. I came here in the 70s when it was affordable. And
North Beach was affordable?
Well, yeah. I mean, I lived in a 55,000 square foot warehouse, for 7 years with 4 dogs. That was affordable. But then the tech thing came in. It's like the second gold rush, and all the rents went up, and people came, and then they left, and all the rents stay up. It's kind of like New York, It's like all the artists can't afford to live here anymore. But it's not. I don't believe it's about families. I really believe it's complicated, and I don't know all the details. I see a big picture, but I think that it's about. I always look to the money, and I think that's where a lot of the answers lie.
Connect the dots.
Yeah, exactly, and so I see AI coming in, and I see potential for bringing the economy into San Francisco, which I'm not against. I'm a tour guide. I want people to come here. I want them to enjoy our beautiful city, our architecture, everything, all the love and the embracing, all the world loves about San Francisco. But I don't want to see these square boxes replacing our beautiful architecture unless the buildings are falling down. And I think there are ways of creating housing. There's plenty of room all over the city. You don't have to do it in North Beach. And I don't feel exclusive about North Beach, but it is a densely populated already neighborhood.
So they want to tear down buildings in North Beach?
Well, I live right in the middle of North Beach, and I know that probably real estate people want to build new buildings. Like, I know a building down the street from me burnt down about 10 years ago, and I'm sure that the owner would love to have a brand new building in there, tear down the old facade. And we actually talked about that in the neighborhood. We came to sort of a compromise. We didn't want a huge high rise overlooking our Washington Square Park, and we came to kind of a compromise where we came together, which is what I believe in, win-win. But that's been halted for some reason, and I don't know all the details of everything. As I say, I see the big picture, but I know it's been halted, and I know it's about money, being able to tear down that place and build up a high-rise because they want to raise the height limits. And where I live, I've lived in the same place since the early 80s. And I have rent control. So I even asked a question at a meeting the other night about putting 2 floors above my 2-story building. I live above a restaurant. And I was giving this runaround answer so much that people from the audience came up and started saying, "What are you talking about?" So there's a lot of runaround, and that's why everybody has their spin. And it actually sounds good, what people say. But you have to really be a critical thinker and look underneath and see what they're really saying and see where it comes from.